Your new book, The American Trap, has been translated into Chinese and it's trending on Chinese social media. The Huawei founder has a copy of it on his desk. Why do you think it's becoming so popular in China?
Well, I think I was probably one of the first one to denounce how the US is using the law as an economic weapon to threaten companies and to threaten executives, and in the extreme cases to buy those companies on the cheap or to destabilize them. And now we can see that China is the next target. And of course, Huawei, and before Huawei, the TE was targeted by the US Department of Justice for infringing some of those US laws.
You were imprisoned by the US authorities for bribery. How was that experience change your view of the United States?
Well, I spent in total 25 months in prison in the US, including 14 months in high security prison. And in order to defend myself, I had to study in depth those extraterritorial laws and particularly the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. So during my 25 months in jail, I studied all the cases of all the companies and all individuals who went through this, who had been indicted by the US Department of Justice for infringing the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. And when you look at this and when you study it in detail, a clear image appears, and you see that basically starting in 2005, the United States start to apply this law mainly to target European companies. If you count all the companies which have paid more than $100 million penalty for infringing this law, only 6 out of 29 companies are Americans. So all the others are non-Americans, out of which 16 are European companies. So this is a law that applies mainly to European companies, and my fear is that it's going to apply very soon to everybody. So now on Huawei, they're using another extraterritorial law, because I want to basically monitor all economic transfers and rule economic law throughout the world. So now they are using another law for Huawei, and they're basically creating a law every year in order to control everything.
The US is engaging China in a tech war, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, the blacklisting of Huawei, and the possibilities of other Chinese companies too. Is there a parallel to be drawn from your own personal experience?
Yes, because they're using exactly the same tactic. Basically, my company Alstom was, at the time of my arrest, trying to partner with a Chinese company, Shanghai Electric, and at that time I was designed as my division was singled out in order to be merged with a subsidiary of Shanghai Electric. So of course, when the US saw this move by Alstom, which was a big competitor of General Electric, they reacted. They arrested me. And by arresting me, they put pressure on the CEO of the company in order to, first of all, pay a big fine and then sell the company to, 70% of the company, all the power generation activities to General Electric. So you can see exactly the same thing happening with Mrs. Meng and Huawei. Basically, the arrest to the top. Here it's even worse in Huawei case because, of course, she's the daughter of the founder. But same tactics. They arrest somebody very close to the top to the CEO of the company in order to put pressure on the company to cooperate with them.
What can other areas of the world do when the US and China are constantly clashing? Can they stay out of it, or must they choose sides?
Well, I think Europe needs to stay independent, and sometimes China is right, sometimes the US is right, sometimes Russia is right, and we need to have our independent foreign policy. And we cannot afford just to be clashed and crashed between China and the United States. So, as I said, we need to react. If you look at what happened historically, 25 years ago, also the US attacked European companies for infringing, for cartels, for having created cartels. And at that time, the European reacted to that and started to also put big fines on US companies for the same thing. So my point here is that, unfortunately, the US only knows confrontation. And therefore, if you don't react strongly, they will not get the message. So right now, probably China is probably the only one who can have a very strong stance against such unilateralism from the United States, because yet in Europe we're not yet coordinated.
Frederic Pierucci, author of The American Trap, a very topical book at a very interesting times. Thank you so much.
Welcome.